and welcome. I am once again joined by Ian Foster, lawyer, friend, amazing, passionate person who is currently you get praised. You come, you hang out, you get praised. That's how it works. Who currently has Julian, I think is how I pronounce it. I didn't check that before we started. Is fronting. Ian has DID, dissociative identity disorder, and we may get alters as we come out. But what we're here for today is to explore patterns, profiles, and perspectives of some variety. And I'm sure we will have multiple perspectives. I'm sure we will bring up patterns or profiles or some kind of model or framework as we discuss productivity, which was the topic that came to mind. Now, if you're looking at my discovery system, productivity fits under E. So discovery is, of course, an acronym. E is for engagement, how we show up to the world. And so part of that is our productivity and our motivation, and so many other elements fit within that. But productivity came up for me this week in two places. One was when I went to Laughter Yoga the other day, which was fun and delightful. They were talking, so it was a half-hour share and then a half hour of actually doing the practice of yoga laughter, which has very little yoga and lots of laughter, which works for me quite nicely. And there was a lot of talk about needing to be productive and needing to be focused, and it reminded me it's a conversation lots of people have. The other place where it came up for me this week was I shared in one of the other school communities that I've joined my week and what I had achieved this week, and someone responded with, "Gee, you had a busy week." And the word busy triggers me massively because I didn't have a busy week, and when I started thinking about it, I was drawn back to a past version of my coaching where I was a productivity coach. Just like, I'm not busy, I'm being productive. There was nothing in there that wasn't deliberate and chosen. And when I looked back at it this morning, I had to giggle because I probably only listed half of what I've done.
Right.
I get that feedback a lot. And I think people who see me doing so much go, "Oh, you must be busy." And I've had people over the years where I didn't reach out to you because I thought you'd be too busy, because I've got kids, I've got a shift working husband, I've had businesses, I'm now homeschooling. People assume busyness over productiveness. And so that's why that was the topic that came up. I see you have thoughts. Share some thoughts. Let's have a conversation rather than me just ranting about people saying busy.
No, I love your rants, and I could listen to your rant for an hour, and we could just sit here and dissociate back and forth and listen to you.
We may do that one week, but this week let's have a conversation.
We find the word busy synesthetically and emotionally displeasing. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good. And we find it to be an excuse word. It's the word.
An excuse.
Yeah, it's the word people throw out when they don't want to say the real reason for something. So they don't want to say, "Amy, I'm not going to go to dinner with you on Friday night because I would rather spend the evening with my kids." They don't say that. Or because I don't like you, or because I'm not up to it, or I've had enough of people this week. So they'll say, I'm not going to go to dinner with you because I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Right. And then you talk about people calling you up or not calling you up, assuming you're busy. No, that is their projection of their insecurity and thinking they might call you up and they don't want to be rejected or feel rejected. Yeah. So they're going to assume right up front that you're too busy, and therefore then they have their own internal excuse not to reach out.
Yeah.
That is my view.
It's also adding one more layer, because they are very common excuses, but it's the excuse people often use for themselves. I'm rather than digging deeper into, that's not a priority for me. That's not aligned with what I want to do right now. It was one of the things when I was doing productivity coaching full time. It was one of the first things I would do with almost every client was, you don't get to say busy anymore. You get to try on. That's not a priority for me. And that
Yeah.
was what I think frustrated me so much in the response from, and it was the course, what is it? The community owner who's in essence a productivity coach in the realm of digital marketing. And to
Mm-hmm.
say that it was busy, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
Because I think I had 6 things on there. And in the scheme of a week, it's not a huge amount. Now, some of them are quite big. I mean, I went and dealt with Medicare last week. I don't know what that would be in the US, but
Yeah, and
it,
probably just as awful to deal with.
it
Yeah.
it's a government system. You have to
Yeah.
navigate paperwork, and it was for my bonus teenager, and it was just painful. Now, it
Mm-hmm.
physically only took an hour and a half of our time. Now, it physically took an hour and a half of our time.
Right.
I'm at only, and I'm at, oh my God, it took that long.
Yeah.
Emotionally, it drained both of us. So that was a reasonably significant, and it took me about an hour to sort of reground myself after I came out of dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still not that big a deal. And I think it comes down to capacity. How much capacity do we have? My capacity fluctuates wildly. And it fluctuates from, I can do 3,000 things. Like this last week did not feel busy. I have achieved a reasonable amount.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are other weeks where I achieve very little. Mind you, even those weeks I tend to get people tell me that I'm busy. But my capacity, particularly with my PMDD diagnosis, for anyone not familiar with what PMDD is,
Mm-hmm.
think PMS on steroids. Instead of having 3 days of PMS, I can get up to 3 weeks a month,
Mm.
being in a state of unfunctional.
So Aunt Flo has her own bedroom at your house.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's been years now since that's been all consuming on a consistent basis. There's been the
Mm-hmm.
odd month in the last, so it's probably a decade. Well, no, it wouldn't be a decade. It's a decade since I got diagnosed. It would be 5 years. Like, it's just so out of the realm of my familiar, but for a long time. And
Yeah.
it's why I became so productive and managing that in that one good week. I would have to achieve a month's worth of work to keep up whatever
Mm-hmm.
keeping up means. And that varied depending on who I was hanging out and
Well,
where I was. And
whatever that means. I mean, look at all the value judgments we're placing on all of this.
yeah,
The word busy, the word a lot, the word I got a lot done or a little done.
yeah,
That's why I liked what you said, capacity.
mm,
You could say my capacity is to get this much done, and either I've got that much done or I haven't,
yeah,
and it's okay either way.
yeah.
Mhm.
So this wasn't where I thought this was going to go. And we talked about this before we started.
I'm
We had no
shocked.
idea where it was going to go.
No.
But I think for me, the productivity. So I used to, as a productivity coach, I used to teach you've got 2 options: either change your goal or change your actions. Like
Hmm.
that's it. You're either taking aligned action to achieve the productivity that you desire and you're moving towards a goal, or you're not. But the only
Well,
2 things that you can change in that is the goal and the action.
oh,
And
false
maybe that's a
dichotomies.
I was going to say
False
maybe
dichotomies.
it's well, let's go to the definition of productivity. Productivity is moving you in the direction of a goal. If that's the definition of productivity, I think I evade the false dichotomy.
Well,
And maybe I don't.
you mitigate the false dichotomy. How about that? And I mean, I'm very big in just with my DID. I've had lots of therapy incorporating CBT and DBT
Yep.
and holding contradictions in our head and so when I hear, are there change the goals or change the actions, I'm like, but what about thoughts and feelings? Right?
Yep.
Because you can't get to any of those until you start with thoughts and feelings.
Well, so are we going to go down
Oh,
this rabbit hole?
you knew it. You knew this would happen.
I did, and that's okay. I'm content for that. It's see, and now we go to free will, which was the other topic that was on my mind for this week
Hmm.
originally. Are our actions driven by thoughts and feelings, or are they something independent? And that, I think, is a
Yes.
very big, yeah.
And yeah,
I think it is a yes answer, because we really don't know. Because if you change your actions, that will change your thoughts and feelings. If you change your thoughts and feelings, that will change your actions. Which has to
that's
come
why it's the
first
triangle in CBT, right? Yeah.
becomes a chicken and egg.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are accurate in that. And if I think back to when I was a productivity coach, the concept of changing feeling, the concept of having feelings was not in my repertoire. Like they were
No,
not.
feelings are no fun.
Well, feelings were no fun. Feelings were way too messy to deal with as a coach, way too messy to deal
Mm-hmm.
with as an individual. Like we're going back, productivity coaching was the very first flavor of coach that I was over a
Okay.
decade ago. And so I'd been diagnosed recently with PMDD. I'd started taking some coaching courses, but I was
Mm-hmm.
still very much in a hustle push. Forget your thoughts and feelings, just do it. It was very much I put like the Nike slogan, productivity coaching, just do it. There wasn't, so I think you are correct. And productivity coaching is not what I do anymore for many reasons. But part of that is because thoughts and feelings became important.
Yeah.
And I moved beyond. You could change the
Mm-hmm.
goal or you could change the action. Now you can change your thoughts. There's so many things that we can change your perceptions, change your perspectives, change a
And
million
this
little
is all
things.
without getting into is free will an illusion,
So yeah, so
right?
is the free will the illusion? Are our actions predetermined by our thoughts and feelings? Are our thoughts and feelings predetermined? Are our, like, there's so much in that. And I think for the moment we might put that one to the side and play with that
Mm-hmm.
another
Yeah.
day and come back to the productivity. So yes, you are correct in that there are multiple things that we can change. To bring it back to, and now I'm kind of justifying why I stick with, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
testing, do I mean it or am I justifying? And I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
To be transparent,
I'm cool with you justifying it. That's
there's
totally
definitely
fine.
a justification of no, I've got to prove that I'm right, but there is
Yeah.
also the element of I genuinely think that it's valuable. If productivity is the achievement of goals, then we've got, you can change the goal or you can change the actions. They're the only really the pieces that are there in my definition of productivity. Now, obviously, there's going to be a million and one definitions of productivity depending on who you ask, when you ask, why you ask. But if we take productivity as, and I'm open to changing the definition, and then that changes the formula completely.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
productivity, generally speaking, I don't know what the dictionary definition is. I meant to look it up before we started.
Nah.
But generally
We would just
speaking,
argue with it anyway.
well, yes. One of the things that I used to do a lot was argue with the dictionary definitions. I've now got much better at taking the dictionary definition as the layperson general definition. So
Mm-hmm.
there's
Yeah.
my meanings and there's what's everybody else thinking. And sometimes it's worth knowing what everybody
Mm-hmm.
else is thinking. The free will conversations came from watching Neil deGrasse Tyson. And one of the things that has triggered me a lot in conversations with him this week is he keeps saying, you've got to meet people where they're at. And I
Mm-hmm.
find that very difficult sometimes. But if we go with productivity, and maybe the audience isn't at productivity is the achievement of goals, but I would think that the majority of people, and if you don't agree with that, put in the comments what your definition of productivity is. I'm open to alternative
Mm-hmm.
definitions.
I think that is a perfectly reasonable like baseline definition. Then people think of, oh yeah, well, productivity is getting shit done. Well, why am I getting shit done? Because there are things that, I want my day to end in a different state than it started, and I have to get shit done to do that. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And so it's that pursuing of goals is generally how people are measuring productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything not in line with that goal then gets dismissed as not being productive or
Mm.
often gets labeled as procrastination. And again, we'll fight the definitions of are you being productive or procrastination. And
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. I had that thought the other day while I was playing with it's like, what are we going to talk about? How are we going to discuss this? And instantly, when I had the thought, well, it's productivity or procrastination, I'm like, no, that's a false dichotomy,
Mm-hmm.
which it is. And sometimes we have to narrow things down to discuss them. So there are a million other things it could be.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, there's the productivity of taking steps towards achieving your goal.
Mm-hmm.
And for the majority of people that I worked with, they had the wrong goals. So people will set goals based on, and I acknowledge that wrong is a huge judgment word.
Yeah,
I saw
I
your
was
face.
waiting for you to catch up to that there.
I saw your face,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I stand by my huge judgment there.
sure, yeah.
That they were so misaligned.
Yes.
To so to set a goal for something that you have no autonomy in, no,
Mm-hmm.
here we have a model, no autonomy, no competence, no relatedness, no purpose, which
Mm-hmm.
is a butchered version of self-determination theory.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I guess it is, huh?
So
Yeah,
the
interesting.
self-determination is autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And
Mm-hmm.
then in Daniel Pink's book Drive, which if we're going to talk productivity and motivation, we have to mention Daniel Pink's book Drive. He talks about self-determination theory, and then he rejects relatedness as a need and goes to purpose for motivation,
Mm-hmm.
which I can argue both ways. And he argues for the purpose. I could easily argue for relatedness. And the majority of mentors I work with argue for relatedness, but it's a marketing seed.
Mm.
You have to have a community.
Yeah,
And I agree that that is a truth. Big T, little T, I don't know, but that we are wired for community. It's also a really good way to help people join your community when you're selling
sure.
marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found it interesting that Daniel Pink shifted to purpose from community, and he doesn't sell a community. Well, that makes it easy for him to make that adjustment in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have little autonomy, autonomy being that we chose this goal as opposed to someone else or societal pressure gave us this goal, which I would say the bulk of people that I work with didn't consciously choose and check and assess if the goal they've set out for is their own.
Mm-hmm.
It's, well, society says I have to make money. And yes, to some degree, we need money available to us to function within this society. Unless you're going to go off grid and grow all your own vegetables. I tried that. I'm not
Sure.
very good at it. I need money to buy vegetables because my
Right.
capacity to grow vegetables is abysmal. Though the possum is doing quite well with carrots.
I can grow vegetables quite well and they're delicious and I love it, but it's also a lot of work and I just don't feel like doing it anymore. So now I
Yeah,
don't do it. It's, you know,
it's a huge amount of work, and unless you've got a community around you and you've got one person growing carrots and one person growing, like, and you can start to
yeah.
exchange, you can't take a family of 6 and just go and live off grid. I cannot sustain us
Mm-hmm.
without far more people to barter with and navigate with.
Yeah.
And I would much rather do this than
Right.
cultivate carrots. It So there is an element of we do need money to some degree, but how much money and where is that line and how we go about gathering that money. So when I've joined coaching schools, my goals tend to morph to what I think they call the coaching school,
Mm-hmm.
create a coaching business. Did I want that, or was I in a room of people and I wanted to fit in and belong? So that became the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think it's probably a little bit of both, but that level of autonomy of, did I choose this? Is this actually aligned with me? Is the first piece that we need to start questioning with the goals.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to the competency. I want to be a rock star. Do I have the competency? No. Do I have the capacity to learn? Based on my past experience with music, I would probably have to say no to that as well. Just, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see people setting goals that are so far beyond their competency, and they're not willing to do the work. They're
Mm-hmm.
not willing to bridge that. I want to be a rock star, but I don't want to spend I imagine, hundreds of hours to get that proficient at guitar and singing
Oh, tens
and
of thousands of hours.
functioning with
Yeah.
other people. to be able to be on stage. You
Yeah.
see this in all kinds of goals. So whether it's becoming a rock star, becoming a motivational speaker, becoming an author, most people want the outcome without the work. And
Yeah.
it's like, are you willing to develop competency in this area? Are you willing to suck at it first? Because that's how we're all going to start. I see this with my kids learning to drive. My daughter this week has become very enthusiastic about getting her driver's license. And she's 12 hours into driving lessons that we've documented now. And she's probably about 25. There's probably 10 hours undocumented. I don't know what it's like in the States, but in Australia you have to have 120. Well, I don't even know that it's Australia. In New South Wales, because every state tends to be different, in New South Wales you have to have 120 hours documented to be able to go from your learner's permit to your provisional driver's license. I think in some states in the US you can drive on your own with your learner's permit.
It's different everywhere, and it's been so long since I've had to deal with that. I mean, our kids are grown and gone, and I mean, and when I was, when I was a kid, like we were all driving around there without licenses and nobody cared. Right?
The 120 hours was introduced 2 decades ago ish, because I can't work out how old I am and how old I was when I got my driver's license. All of that maths is too much right now.
Yeah.
But it was introduced about 3 months after I got my driver's license.
Okay.
And it was so they gave like a 12-month warning and said, if you've got your learner's permit now, you don't have to fulfill this criteria.
Right.
If you get your driver's license in the next 12 months. And I went, right, I'm not doing 120 hours of driving practice. My sister went the other way and went, I'm just going to wait till I'm 25, where you don't have to measure the hours after you're 25. You don't have to meet that criteria. And I mean, I imagine it's that they assume that after 25, you're a little bit more mature and you've still got to do your, you've still got to do the driver's test. So you've got to prove that you've met the criteria. You just don't have to have the logbook anymore. My daughter has taken on this adventure of learning to drive, which then has me go on the adventure of teaching to drive. And there's a whole journey in that. It's only in the last, so she got a learner's permit at 16. She's just turned 17. We did about 10 hours in that 16 to 17 age, and we've done about 10 hours in the last week. So over 12 months, we did 10 hours, and over a week, we've done 10 hours. And part of that is that she's reached the tipping point of competence, that she actually can start to self-correct. She's not feeling completely incompetent. She's not competent yet, but she's not feeling completely incompetent at this point. She's moved to driving a manual car, which is much harder. It's that moment, though, of realizing that I'm willing to learn this. And I'm seeing her. So when we went for the first or second lesson, she was struggling with driving the manual. I think they were in my red car. We have so many cars in the family.
Yeah.
The red car. And the clutch in the red car is a bit of pain. When she struggled with going up a hill or changing gears, she would go into meltdown and go into it's too hard. I'm just testing if she'd be okay with me sharing this. I think she'd be okay with me sharing this. It's that moment of it's too hard. I'm not willing to do what it takes. And that was where she hit. She's like, it's too hard. I'm not willing to do what it takes. And you suck as a teacher, Mum, was kind of the layered in, I'm going to project this onto you. I'm like, yeah, well, like, what would we do? Let's face it. Driving, instructing is not my skill set.
Right.
Whereas now she's got to that point where, and I'm noticing, she's still struggling. She's certainly not at that point of competence. But it's hard, and I'm watching her literally do like Zen meditations as we're reattempting hill starts. And so she's worked out that if she wants her driver's license, she has to be willing to do the driving lessons. She has to be willing to do what it takes. And so for lots of people, they'll set the goal without that willingness to develop the competency. which is why I say the goal, like you can either change your actions, you can be willing to learn, or you can give up the goal, or you can continue being frustrated by the whole scenario, would be to add in, and there's probably plenty of other options to remove the false dichotomy.
Well, and much of the frustration comes in if the goals, like you say, the wrong goals, the goals that misaligned with their personal values, so they don't even know what their personal values are.
Yes, yes, yes. And so the goals have come from somewhere outside. They saw the goal, they saw the results and thought, oh, I'd like the results. They didn't necessarily look at the work. And then I mean, if they've come to me as a productivity coach, they're no longer doing it alone. They've got the relatedness piece. So that relatedness piece is generally taken care of. There's lots of people out there not working with coaches and not working with other people and not collaborating and trying to do it on their own. And they don't have that relatedness. And I think the purpose overcomes that. If you've got a clear purpose, that drive comes in. You don't necessarily need people to support you. It's far faster though. And I hear all of the marketing rhetoric. A lot of it lands with so many people because there is essence of truth in it. It is far easier. So learning to drive, for example, and if we had a farm and a paddock, frankly, I would much rather send my daughter out to learn on her own. Go, like, the fuck around and find out method works really well for some people. And if we had, but she can't do that on the roads. That's unsafe for her. It's unsafe for everybody else. That's just not a good way of doing it.
As we were saying about cats earlier, it's not that she can't do it on the roads. It's just,
I mean, she could, but the risks inherent in that. I mean, my oldest definitely comes with a fuck around and find out mentality. And once he got his provisional license, there was elements of that. And fortunately, the lessons that he learnt came with limited consequences. For damaged vehicles, not people.
Right.
Vehicles are easy to repair or replace. People, not so much.
Not so much.
And so those lessons. So those three pillars, and whenever I'm helping someone set goals, I still do this in my design success workshop. They're the three pieces that we're checking in. Do you have autonomy? Is this your goal? Did you choose this, or do you feel pressure? How much pressure do you feel? How much is it coming from outside influence?
And even if you chose it deliberately a year ago, do you still choose it? Do you choose it again today?
Even a day ago, sometimes we need. It's like, that sounded like a really good idea. For me, and this goes back to the PMDD stuff, in ovulation, everything looks amazing and possible. And like, I become the most optimistic person and the most productive person. And in that space, everything feels like a great idea. And then a week later, everything feels like a bad idea. And so there's this space of, where am I at emotionally? Where am I at energetically? Is this the right time to make a decision? And it's in the in-between moments. So not in the height of ovulation, not in the depths of luteal, and to put that in more like not in the heights of enthusiasm. Sitting in a training. I sent a link to my husband the other day. I went to a 3-day training last week, and it was wonderful and it was lovely. And I sent a link to my husband and I said, I'm feeling really drawn to join this community right now. I'm going to send this to you and I'm going to sleep on it because I'm in the heights of the energy right now. And once I've slept on it, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a different response energetically than. And the community is lovely and wonderful, and that's great. It's not necessarily aligned with where I am at right now.
Right.
And so those moments of pause when we're setting our goals, and then the moments of measure of, is this taking me towards or away from my goal? And I see so many people. It's a post I read the other day, and it was, if it's not taking you in the direction of your goal, you shouldn't be doing it. Like, so I shouldn't be eating and sleeping and resting. And like, there's a lot of things that I'm doing in the maintenance of life that may or may not align with my goal. And it was talking about a singular goal. I'm like, who has one goal?
Right.
Like that to me was like, okay, so you're a 20-year-old man who's out there on a mission to build your business. You've got no family. You've got no, like, there's no lifestyle. Fine, go forth, have
Right.
your
Good
one
for you,
goal,
buddy.
and
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
enjoy. And at 20, that single-mindedness can be really beneficial, and you've got the energy to sustain it. You've got the capacity to do it. Often at 40 something and 50 something, we start to reconsider these things.
Sometimes I wish I could, just for little spurts each day, have that single-mindedness again.
Sometimes the single-mindedness can come. I'm
Yeah.
curious now, and I don't know that this is the platform to explore it, but part of me wonders what stops you. Like, I definitely have moments of, at the moment particularly, and this is not in alignment with goals, but I have moments of completely zoning out. And maybe it is a goal. Like, I have my goal to watch this trial in completion. So the Corey Richards trial I've been obsessed with. And I am definitely doing single-mindedness with that. The kids' Tori came out yesterday. She's like, can I interrupt? I'm like, no, go away. I'm watching trial right now. So I definitely have those moments of single-mindedness. I don't know if you want to share. I saw like 8 different things cross your mind just then. If any of them are worth sharing, you're welcome to. If they're not something you want to share in a public arena, that's okay too.
It's because we were dissociating. We're Clarissa now.
Yeah. I thought
Um,
Clarissa might come out in productivity
yeah.
focused.
Well, we're talking about productivity, right? I like to get shit done. This is my book. I don't know if it showed up. You can do hard things. This is my little list making notebook. Everybody else hates it. All I
just
do is in the morning, I just write shit in here. The shit we have to get done today.
just for
Um,
context for anyone, so going back to what I said at the beginning, Ian has DID and we'll have different alters coming out. Clarissa and I have spoken, we possibly spoken more, but I have been aware of us speaking once. And that was after our last podcast. And Stephanie and I were having a lovely time, very
yes.
chilled out. And Clarissa came out, and I think we only spoke for about 2 minutes because Clarissa came out and said, we have shit to do and this conversation needs to end. And it was
Well,
with
we
love
had
and
shit to do,
compassion.
and I didn't mean to be a dick about it, but
No, so
no.
don't misunderstand. And for anyone listening, please don't misunderstand. I loved it. It was awesome because there were my own parts going, we have shit to do too. But I was so in just Zen chilling out space. So there is definitely that's which is why I thought potentially you would come out when we were discussing productivity, because clearly that's one of your focus points is
That's one of my
getting
focuses.
stuff
That's my
done.
strength. And this single-mindedness, we each of us, at least in our system, can be single-minded about different things. But even then, it's not really, I mean, I can get pretty single-minded about my lists and my spreadsheets. But the system doesn't just let me front and do that all the time, or we wouldn't eat and sleep and have fun and do all of the things you need to do. And even I like to do fun things too.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm just realizing the term single-mindedness for someone with DID is a weird contrasting. Like, we need to go to a definition of that because it's not
Yeah,
necessarily, and even for myself, it's not that I'm single-minded. I still get distracted while I'm doing stuff, but there are
yeah.
things
I
going
took
on.
it to mean a focused determination,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And I think it becomes that pursuit. There is a purpose or a goal or a something at the end that we're pursuing, often to
Right.
the detriment of everything else. Like you say, it's the, well, I'm not going to sleep
Well,
until I've done this, or I'm
I
not going
mean,
to cook, I'm not going to.
we're a recovering addict, right? So we pursued very destructive behavior instead of all the other things that we would have said were in alignment with their values. Um, but we are learning to compromise inside and just as you and your parts do, figure out how to achieve those goals together and not have to be completely focused and determined on it, but to have this as a general focus each day. We want to move closer to this thing. And so like the list making, um, for some reason today, my list, we've been doing shit on my list. So thank you, everybody. Super proud of you guys for that. Oh my God. Wow. The backlash inside. We didn't do that for you. I know. Okay. All right. Um, but we've been some of our littles have come up with a new way of making lists, and it's going to require us doing a little art project and some lamination and stuff. But instead of a list, we're going to have like a poster board with quadrants and colors and shapes to figure out how to move
Mine is
around. And it's been, you know,
mine is in the
things like
kitchen.
urgent and, we'll do the Eisenhower urgent and leverage, but within each of those quadrants is going to be shapes. And the more corners the shape has means it's something sharper, which means we have to be really regulated to take it on.
Yeah.
Versus if it's a circle, it's something we can take on even if we're all fucked up that day. And the colors will be on a range from fun to tedious, basically. And we'll see how that works.
Which brings us back to capacity.
Yes.
What's our capacity today, individually, collectively, internally, externally? What, like, there's so many pieces that we can explore in that. What's the capacity? And when we set our goals, did we create plans that allow for fluctuating capacity? And so often that's missing for so many people is that fluctuating capacity. I love the urgent important matrix. My own tweak of that is the daily frog, which I know you've been seeing me do. So the urgent and the important fit into that. So required is urgent and important. So in the frog acronym, so there's for me required, options, and give value. And so the for me and the give value are very much emotional. They sit next to or beside or outside of the urgent important matrix. But the required is the urgent and important.
Right.
It's generally something that's scheduled. So, for example, showing up to this call today was required.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not required necessarily. It's definitely, I could have made it an option, but it was in the calendar. We made the commitment to it. And short of something seriously impacting my capacity, I'm going to show up for the call.
Yeah, exactly. And we love that discussion about that capacity. At least for us as an internal system, that has to do with how regulated are we today. If we are dysregulated,
the allowing space for that. So many people create their goals. I saw, and it's a common personal development thing. It's that what's your ideal average day? Like, what are you aiming for every day? And I was feeling slightly mismatchery and challenged it because I don't have a single ideal average day. Tapping chords again. I have, particularly through my cycle, I have at least 4, if not 5, through my menstrual cycle of what does an ideal average day look like. And then you add in the seasons. So my ideal average day at the moment includes going out, share with the rest of us, or not, your call. I was going to say, we clearly just got to switch because that's not Clarissa anymore. That's Stephanie. Stephanie's far more into the seasons. So I'm pretty sure Clarissa has an ideal average day, and this is what every day is meant to look like, and it's very systemized and color-coded spreadsheet. Am I close?
Clarissa's so boring. So boring.
Yeah, I think yours is far more fluid and seasonal, I'm guessing, Stephanie.
What were we talking about?
Yeah. So I was talking about the need for ebb and flow and having seasonal ideal average days. And I was about to share, and then sort of switch. Was about to share.
Did you say ideal average days?
Ideal average days. I was going to share at the moment, when it's sunny, my ideal average day includes going out and letting the chickens out. I will tolerate cold. I will not tolerate rain for that process. So this
chicken
morning,
freedom. Yes.
Chicken freedom. Yes.
Yeah.
And so this morning, the chickens did not have freedom because it was raining. And I don't think the chickens would actually embrace the chicken freedom in the rain, which is probably a delusion because they like the grass. But I was not embracing the chicken freedom in the rain because A, I had trial that I could watch and I was quite immersed in that. And B, it was raining outside. I'm taking my daughter to her activity today. I said, it's raining. And like I said, she's been very devoted to driving. And she said, I'll drive in the rain, but I'm not putting the L plates on in the rain. Like it's too
mm-hmm.
But that singular mindset of ideal average day, which is why I suspect, Stephanie, you think it's boring. Clarissa would think it's structured, I'm guessing. But it's that difference between that balance between structure and spontaneity. And for your system, you've got two people playing both sides of that. For most of us, we have both of those parts playing out in us. They're just not as distinct as perhaps yours are.
Yeah, maybe that's why the system pushed me out just now, because I did not expect to come out. And I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, you got pushed out to share the spontaneity.
I did, yeah, because Clarissa is boom, 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 boom. Ugh, so dumb. And I know that, no, I almost said we have to get these things done. We don't have to, we get to. We have the opportunity to get these things done to accomplish our goals, and that's beautiful and wonderful. And we have to have some fun doing it. Otherwise, what the fuck are we doing? I mean, really.
Yeah.
There's so many miserable people out there having no fun accomplishing all their goals. And well, good for you. You accomplished your goals and you hate your life. Whoop-de-doo.
And they're often not pausing to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll achieve the thing. And I've been this person. I achieve the thing. I'm like, great, what's next? There's not even a moment. I published a book and went and did a book launch. And even at the book launch, I wasn't celebrating. It was just something I had to tick off in the market. Like there was no fun, there was no pleasure, there was no fulfillment. It's like I'm doing all of these things to achieve fulfillment. But
That's
the
really
moment I
sad.
tick it off,
Because wasn't that supposed to be the fun part?
well, in theory, fun was not in my. I'm
Mm.
trying to think what year I published that book. It's up on the shelf somewhere. Someone can look up the copyright. So that was my first book, and fun was not in my vocabulary
Mm-mm.
at that point. And it is exceptionally sad, and allowing through parts like yourself, Stephanie, that do have the fun. And if I remember correctly from last time, and please correct me if I'm not remembering accurately,
Mm-hmm.
for you, there's celebration in the everyday things. Like you said, it's like those grounded experiences, like going shopping. The grocery shopping is so
Yeah.
often dismissed. Like the 20-year-old hustling male, and I know I picked like a stereotype, he's not lavishing and enjoying the grocery shopping. It's something that's being ticked off. He's rushing through, he's pushing old ladies out of the way, and I've
Mm-hmm.
like extremified him. But just wandering through the aisles, it's one of the things I do with my daughter. We go and we have to walk down every aisle. And sometimes I'm in get shit done mode. We're buying three things. So I'm like, we do not need to walk down every aisle to buy these,
Mm-hmm.
which I suspect is how Clarissa food shops to bring the contrast. It's like, okay, well, we've got to buy this thing. We're going to go in, we're going to buy this thing. Whereas I suspect you're more immersed in the moment, enjoying
Clarissa is not allowed to shop
the
because she will buy exactly what's on the list and no
Yep.
less and no more. When I shop, I make sure we get all the things on the list, but I do double check to make sure, hey guys, did we really need this on the list before I pick it up? And then I'm all usually allowed to pick out a few things for myself as well.
Yep.
And I like walking around and I don't get annoyed. I can feel the system, you get in the grocery aisle and somebody like stops in the middle of the aisle and I could feel other parts inside going, "Oh my God, this stupid person." And I'm like, "Guys, it's okay."
Yeah, you're far
You
more
know?
in the moment, appreciating the little things. And
Yeah. And then I
I
say
see
hi
the
to the
little.
person.
I've got Julian now chiming in, going, "Why are you judging that as little?" But
Yeah.
I'm looking for a better word. The everyday things. Is that better?
Hmm. Yes.
There are
The
so many.
everyday, but the everyday things are a big deal. We spend
Mm,
most of our life doing the everyday things.
yeah.
And why shouldn't it be fun? I enjoy making the bed and going grocery shopping and brushing my teeth and walking outside and all these things. Because I mean, somebody's got to. Oh, I mean,
Yes. Yeah. When I was in that productivity realm, and I'm sharing some of this again recently, one of the components in plans was the lifestyle choices. And for me, what I'm
hmm
hearing from you is that it's those lifestyle choices that you're really immersed in and building for the sustainable future. Because we can hustle for a short time. Like all of us
hmm
have the capacity to hustle, to push, to check things off, to move. I'm sure it's there
Clar-
if you looked for it.
you know what Clarissa's theme song is? We all have our own theme songs. Did Clarissa, do you know what her theme song
I
is?
know she didn't share.
It's her theme song is from the movie Hustle and Flow, and it's called "It's Hard Out There for a Pimp."
Actually, I think she did share that with me before,
Yeah,
or someone has shared that with me.
yeah.
It's, but we all have that capacity too, but it's not
hmm
necessarily sustainable. It's
Mm-mm.
it's short term, and there are times to short term when
hmm
generally when the deadline is approaching. One of the very first things, if not the first thing that we printed on our printer that we got in 1980 something, like it was a
Mm.
very very basic, like we're going back and we're in Australia, not America,
The
so
one that went that's so loud.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the printout is like pixelated, and
Uh-huh.
but I'd made it pretty with this border in whatever
hmm
program it was, some version of Word, I would imagine, that's been around for a long time. The saying was, if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done. And that was
Mm.
the very first thing that we printed on the printer because everybody in the house could agree on that saying. This
hmm
morning, I was watching Trial, and I wanted to have a shower and wash my hair before we jumped on the call, and I had to send the Zoom link. And I was immersed in Trial. I'm like, right, you have X number of minutes. And if you're going to wash your hair, you need time for that to dry. So I paused the trial.
hmm
I went and had the shower. I'm like, right, and now you need to blow dry your hair because you didn't allow enough minutes for that to dry naturally.
Mm.
And then I went, well, no, I'm not going to blow dry it until after I've been out in the pouring rain and come back in like a drowned
hmm
rat from the wet. But I was watching, and then sending the Zoom link to your system this morning was probably about 6 minutes after I meant to send it. And
Yeah.
and I was conscious of that because
Uh-huh.
I was in the trial and I was getting immersed. But it's those minutes, and I we kind of joked, it's not the last minute, it's the minute after it's due is where things happen often.
Mm.
And that's okay for sending the Zoom link. Like I've left enough time to send the Zoom link, and that was fine. But
We
there's,
got it in plenty of time.
yeah, absolutely. But
We weren't worried.
it was after, no, I knew I could have sent it like a minute before the call and you wouldn't have been worried.
Yeah.
We played together long enough. It's more me building that muscle up again or helping people that aren't as confident that we'll achieve things together. Though there was a point to that. See, I could just go into flow with you, Stephanie. We may need to bring Clarissa back to bring some focus and
Let's see who wants to come out
direction.
and be a balance. Because I would just joke around and Clarissa would be so boring.
Well, I think she probably has a lot of value to add. From your perspective, is boring, and I'm sure there are people that are in that experiential. I've very rarely attracted them because, particularly when I was doing
Mm.
productivity coaching, I was far more like Clarissa, and it was far too rigid and structured. My own approach
hmm
now is far more balanced, and
Mm.
there is the daily frog is that balance of, well, there's the for me, which is the play and the fun and
hmm
the experiential and the emotional. There's the give value, which is engaging with and connecting with others, because otherwise I can become quite single-minded and not speak to another human being for a month. And then there's
hmm
the required and the options. The distinction between them, the required is the urgent and important. The options are the important. And anything that's not important doesn't make it to my list. Because why would it?
Oh, I was wondering about that.
Mm.
But I mean, aren't all of these things, I mean, you could say your life's goal, very broadly defined, is to have a fulfilling life in
Yeah.
whatever way and you need all of these to do that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, like for me, covers, like often you'll see on my daily frog, for me is hydrate because that's
Hmm.
something that is, and it is important. If it's not important, if it's not aligned with me living a fulfilled life, going food shopping is important. Taking time to have chicken freedom is important.
Hmm. Hmm.
Snuggling the kitten who
Mm.
is in a really weird position behind the computer right now is important. Now, do
Yeah.
they always make it to my list? Not always. I would not go so far as to say if it's not on the list, I won't do it. I used to. If it hadn't been put on the list, if it wasn't worthy of going on the list, it wasn't worthy of doing. What
Mm.
I've realized is that there are so many things that don't necessarily need to go on the list because the goals are more fluid than that are still worth doing. It's worth taking those moments to pause and connect. It's worth taking moments out. And this again comes back to having the fluidity based on capacity. So some days I have far more capacity for dealing with spreadsheets and YouTube channel blurbs and setting up logistical stuff. And someday
Hmm.
I do not have capacity for that at all. Welcome back, Julian. I saw the switch.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the name changes for anyone watching. It's probably a bit late in the video now, but the name changes are happening. So it's, and I suspect you're going to bring a more balanced somewhere between Clarissa's very rigid, structured.
That's why I'm the host of the system, is because
You bring the balance.
I'm not the best at any of those things, but I'm kind of decent at all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And that kind of decent at all of them is what I think most of us should be aiming for.
Hmm.
Those moments of, okay, well, I'm going to be single minded, I'm going to be focused, I'm going to get this thing done for a short period of time is really
Hmm.
important. And then the
It
moments
is.
of,
And then even if Clarissa's not fronting to do it, even if I'm still fronting, I'm sort of channeling, like, there's, because we call it passive influence. So I'm still channeling Clarissa. She's next to me in the,
yeah,
there aren't words to describe the internal sensations, but she's metaphorically next to me in the head while I'm doing it, or Stephanie is next to me in the head while I'm doing this thing, or whoever. Yeah.
and I think that anybody, even without the DID, so I do it myself, I will channel.
Hmm.
And there's lots of ways that we can do that. There's drawing, at the moment, I've got I Ching cards spread everywhere
Mm.
because
Yeah.
that's the energies that I'm currently channeling. But I've done it with
Mm.
tarot. I've done it with any of
Hmm.
the profiles that I've got. So disc is one that I love, and I
Hmm.
was rewatching an old video. I'm going to start posting some drawn content from past videos, and I am conscious that we will start wrapping up this conversation very soon. But there's a video where I'm talking about embracing D energy. So DISC, D-I-S-C, is a personality profile for anyone not familiar with it.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's one of my favorites, and I am like I'm trained in it. Um, the term is, can't think of it. But I said to my husband one day, "You need to embrace your D energy," and he came
Mm.
over and gave me a great big hug. He's like, "I am embracing my D energy."
In California, D energy has a specific meaning.
Ah, so what I mean by that is the personality type. So my personality is a DS in this
Hmm.
profile. And so
Yeah.
his is ISC. So he literally has a preference for everything except
Mm.
D energy. And so when he embraces the D energy, he's like, no, I'm just going to hug you and let you do the D energy. But we've all got the capacity. I don't want to know what that means. I'm
You can
confident.
imagine.
Yeah, I'm not even going to imagine. my point is that we've all got the. I'll just start calling it the dominant energy, though I'm feeling as
There you
I say
go.
that out
Yeah.
loud that dominant energy may also have connotations that I don't necessarily want to go down. We've all got the capacity to access the different energies, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
full-blown identity, personality alter, or whether it's a part that we're drawing on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is we've talked about this a little bit with the profiles. All of the profiles to me are a gauge of this is where I'm currently
Right.
preferring. All of it is available. And so the D energy is known to be, or the dominant energy is known to be focused, direct. Clarissa would be a version of that, I would guess.
She's got
And
some D energy,
yeah.
and Amber has the D energy in the
Yes.
dirty sense. Yeah.
We've all got the capacity to draw on that, and how we draw that energy, where we draw that from, whether it's finding someone that has that we're modeling, and
Mm-hmm.
and by modeling I don't mean pretending, I mean actually stepping into
Yeah. Yeah.
that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so for becoming focused, for becoming productive, we do sometimes need to access those traits within ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
whether we tap into an alter, whether we tap into a part of ourselves, or however we want to frame that. And there is the space for, so that combination of Clarissa and Stephanie is beautiful because you've got the structure and the spontaneity
Mm-hmm.
both coming to life. And for me, that's what it's about. It's not a single focused, this is the ideal average day we should live every day. We're going to wear
Yeah.
black jeans and a black t-shirt every day for the rest of our lives, so we don't have to make that decision.
Yeah.
There's like several male business models that
Yeah.
did that. And it does get rid of the decision. It also gets rid of the fun and the playfulness. And there's a lot in there.
Yeah. And I always wondered if that's, I don't know. That was their excuse. I tend to think that's just something they did for show to say, "Hey, look at me. Look at how focused I am." Blah blah. I'm like, because is it really that hard to pick out your shirt in the morning? I mean, is it really that hard?
Well, and if you've got 10,
You,
you just pick the top one. Like my husband picks out a different
yeah.
shirt every day because he picks up the top one. And they're all different colors, they're all different
Right.
variations. It's,
Yeah.
yeah. So whether they're doing it for simplicity, whether they're doing it because their mum's still buying their clothes and she just buys 10 of the same t shirt, who knows?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What thoughts do you have for us to wrap up on? Because we have come to that hour mark. We're going to attempt to respect time.
Um, I think for us too, we kind of wrap up productivity as a feeling as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an emotional state too. It's not how much did we get done today. It is, did we get things done today? And are those things in alignment with their goals? And were they within our capacity today? And it's okay if it didn't go all the way up to our capacity because we're allowed to do other stuff. We're allowed to go shopping
Yeah,
and go for a walk in the park and all that good stuff. And do we feel good about ourselves at the end of the day? Like, do we feel like, you know what, we did well today and we are happy, or do we feel like we need to, we'd like to make some tweaks tomorrow?
yeah,
It's that feeling of yes, you know, and today is a good, like it's mid-afternoon in our time zone right now. We are feeling productive today. We
yeah,
actually did get through Clarissa's list and we did some yoga and Stephanie got to come out. And so we've had kind of that balance. We haven't got the entire list done and that's okay.
yeah, yeah,
We can put things on tomorrow's list. So it's that feeling of, yeah, you know what, we did all right today. We're good.
yeah. Yeah, for me, the word I use for that is for the fulfillment, and productivity is a piece of that.
Hmm.
Productivity, passion, play, purpose. Like there's so many P's, but I don't know why that's the letter of the year, but that's the
Yeah.
letter of the year if we're going with a letter of the year. It is that moment of, I want to say the words did I do enough, but there's so many connotations around enough.
Mm.
And it really does come back to the capacity. And to dive into the options piece. So options is about taking care of the past, the present, and the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did we neglect in the past that we now need to fix generally?
Yeah.
Like, and there is an option to step into and be grateful for, oh, look, you did this thing in the past and now you don't have to deal with it, and thanking our past selves.
Yeah.
Generally, particularly when I first started, it was, okay, what did I neglect in the past that I now need to take care of?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to maintain the balance in the present, which is the going for the walks and the allowing the experiential side of stuff, the Stephanie side of stuff to sort of come to
Mm-hmm.
life, to maintain the capacity. Because if we don't take time, then tomorrow's past problem, like because we didn't give ourselves that time to refill and maintain the capacity. And
Yeah.
then the future, what do we want for the future? How do I be the past Amy that tomorrow's
Mm.
Amy will go, oh, look, you did this thing. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good on you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
But
it's,
you brought up the word enough. I think that the word enough, we like that. I think it weaves throughout that.
yeah,
We were regulated enough today. We were
yeah,
productive enough. We were
yeah.
safe enough.
I think your
And
relationship
then
with
we
the
have to add
word,
on the enough also is the enough for who? It's enough for us because
yeah,
we can't control if we're enough for you.
yeah. That was where I was gonna, like, the word
Mhm.
enough for so many is, was I good enough for everybody else, not a
Right.
self-determined looking inside enough.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for today. I'm sure we could continue talking for forever. I appreciate you greatly. I'd appreciate anyone watching. Add in the comments any questions, any topics, any. I know we put aside free will. We might table that for a conversation in the future.
Oh, we could talk for an hour about free will, I'm sure.
Easily. I'm sure we could. And anything else that came up that we sort of sidelined and
Hmm.
bypassed. I appreciate all of you. And I'm grateful to be playing in the space. For anyone watching, if you wish to engage more in these conversations, use the comments, hit the like on YouTube or wherever you're watching this. I assume other podcast places have likes. Clearly, I haven't played in the podcast arena long
Hmm.
enough. There'll also be a link down below for the school community that is being built. And yeah, thank you very much, Ian, for joining me. Thank you for everyone who listened to our conversation, kind of in around the realm of productivity and so much
Hmm.